So I thought I'd share with you guys today a few of my creations. These are both different versions of the same jacket. They're in two different fabrics. Well, actually I've got three different fabrics. I thought I'd talk about why I made these or why I had them made, and yeah, some of my design ethos and values around clothing. I got into making clothing because I've always felt like, for something that you have on your body every single day, that it should really do more for us, right? And for me personally, when I lived in Canada, I didn't drive. I rode a motorcycle and I walked around and took the bus a lot. I guess a lot of people who drive, they keep stuff in their car, but for me, it was pretty important to keep stuff on my body. And that's just my preference, right? I noticed that a lot of jackets that you can buy, they don't have a lot of versatility in terms of like what you can carry in them. And for me, I'm a martial artist and also a martial arts teacher. And so I'm always bringing around like kind of oddly shaped objects like sticks and things like that. And I go around and teach people or go to people's homes, and I just needed to be able to carry stuff with me. It's just my personality that I like to be prepared for things. Yeah, some people have like the concept of like a bug out bag, like basically a bag that you can have basic supplies in and you just grab when shit hits the fan. And then you can kind of survive in any type of situation that you might encounter. Me personally, I've encountered a lot of strange situations, and I always like to be ready. So I like my clothing to do a little bit more for me than maybe the average person. That's not only what it can carry, but also the fabrics, what it's made out of, and the attributes of the fabrics. For example, if you live in Vancouver, where I used to live, it's very rainy for most of the year. And if you're spending a lot of time outside, I used to train outside as well, just for fun. If you're spending a lot of time outside, you've got to be prepared for inclement weather. And you want to be comfortable too, right? And you don't want to be carrying around, like people have specific rain jackets and they'll be like carrying that around with them or something like that. But generally they're not comfortable. Rain jackets are typically made from plastic. If you all know about microplastics, limiting exposure is best. And also it's not comfortable, right? Like why would you want to wear essentially a trash bag? So what's important to me, depending on the climate that you're in, you have to have fabrics that will perform in those climates. Another thing is there's a separation between types of clothes, like athletic wear versus like work wear versus like formal wear and all of this other stuff. And to me, that is something that leads to having a lot of stuff that you can only use for very specific purposes. And I'm really not a fan of that. Like I want to have stuff that can be multifunctional, that can be used for a variety of situations. And that's just my lifestyle. I practice Kung Fu. I'm always doing that everywhere I go. So whatever clothes that I'm wearing, I've got to essentially be able to train in them and not have issues in terms of like whether or not I can move in something, moisture, sweat wicking properties, because I also just don't want to be wearing like athletic wear all the time, because as a professional, I'm often going and I'm meeting different clients or different students, and I don't really want to look like I'm just wearing like gym wear. Right? Sometimes, if I button up this shirt, for example, it's just like a regular looking button up shirt, but it's cut, for example, in such a way you can see it's really big. It's cut in a particular way where I can move in it. The fabric is appropriate for training in, even though most people wouldn't think about using a button up shirt to train. And certainly if I was doing, like an intense session, you know, I wouldn't necessarily choose this, right? But for me, there's often pockets of opportunity for me to move and do different work and different practice. And so I want to be able to sort of seamlessly transition through all of these different environments. So there's a lot of different reasons how I came to start making my own clothes. And when I say make, I don't physically make any of it. I've got no ability to sew. All I've got are ideas, and even with that, you know, I take a lot of ideas from different brilliant things that I've seen, and I try to put it together to make something that I think would be useful for me. I've got my first order now with my friend Levi. You know, he's ordering a jacket from me. We'll go through the details of that jacket. But definitely, I feel like if somebody has a similar idea to me, if clothing is important to them, and then they can certainly contact me, and you know, I can look into making something if you like some of the things that you see. I think a lot of people would think it's like over the top, which is fine, right? You know, we all do what's right for us, right? So anyways, let me show you some of the features on these jackets. Here we've got the jackets in, this is a Ventile cotton, which is a super special material. It's fully breathable and waterproof, very interesting fabric. And here we have the same jacket again in a tropical wool. So this one is very, very lightweight wool, suitable for wearing in hot weather. So here we have what I think is the fifth or sixth version of what I call the traveler jacket. So basically it's kind of like a workwear jacket design. It's got like a typical kind of similar collar to what you'd see in like a denim jacket. But then the similarities sort of stop there. So this is actually made from a really nice, it's actually tuxedo fabric. So it's a super 120s wool. So let's go through some of the features. We've got, you know, a basic pocket here. So this is just like, you know, a shirt pocket, right? Shirt cuffs, so that you can roll the sleeves up. That's super important for me. I can't stand it when you have a jacket and you can't roll the sleeves up. So this is an interesting thing. These are slot buttons. So it goes all the way up. And the nice thing about slot buttons is that you basically will never have, under normal circumstances, a button failure, right? The button is never gonna fall off. It's very, very strong because you can see it's sewn onto this ribbon here, right? So we've got front, you know, what I call hand warmer pockets, right? So the only real function of these pockets is to actually just put your hands in. You know, sometimes, you know, for me, I'm outside or waiting for the bus or something like that, and you know, you just kind of feel a bit cozy with that, right? So let's go on the inside here. There is a lovely Japanese snap that goes right into a hidden pocket. So that is called a hidden placket pocket, right? So now as we open the jacket up, we've got all kinds of wild stuff. So we have a pocket here in the front, a zipped pocket, and then towards the back of the jacket, very big drop pockets, you know, you could call them, right? And then there's this crazy thing here. So I've put, also now we have yet another pocket, along with some webbing, or actually I don't know what that's called, ribbon. And you can hang stuff on here, so like sunglasses or, you know, whatever you like, you know, small things, pens, right? And on the other side as well, let's see, I'm trying to do this with one hand here. We've got, again, similar idea. This is a place where you can hang things. And then here we have, this is actually to keep a long item straight. So if you stick something long, like a stick, into this pocket, you know, this will kind of just keep it straight and not move on you. And again, most people probably don't need that. That's definitely a me thing with, like, you know, I've got a very specific use case. So here in the center, right, we've got this giant drop pocket here, which could fit like an iPad, or like one of those big iPads. And this little setup here is a sling, actually. So, you know, when you pull it, you know, it pulls this all together, so all your stuff gets comes together, and then you've got a sling, and you can wear essentially the jacket like a cross-body bag, right? And that's pretty important for me, you know, temperature regulation. If you're out and about, if something changes temperature-wise, and you just, like, you don't want to hold your jacket, you just wear it as a sling. And that's been a must for me on every jacket that I've made, because, you know, certainly if you're out there training, I used to train a group of guys. We used to go outside, and yeah, you know, it gets cold. You know, you put your jacket on. Sometimes you're not moving as much, like for me, and sometimes you're moving a lot. So you want to be able to, you know, you want to be able to regulate your temperature. And also, in terms of this jacket, you could actually use it as a bag. It's not as good as, you know, a purposefully designed bag, but there's some instances where that doesn't matter, where it, you know, you might want to, you know, you're already wearing the jacket, but somehow you have to carry a bunch of stuff. So, you know, it works pretty well. Let me put it on and let me show you guys like a typical loadout on this jacket, what that looks like. So here we've got a Ventile cap. So that's a waterproof hat. This is a merino wool kerchief. Extremely useful. Essentially, it's a fabric multi-tool. I've got, I live in Southeast Asia, so this is super important. It's a titanium fan. Well, the titanium aspect is not the important part, but, you know, it gets really hot here, right? And so this is a screwdriver. This is a multi-tool. We've got some battery packs, a passport wallet with some cards, and of course my regular wallet, some sunglasses or regular glasses, of course my phone, headphones. This is a money pouch, and we've got here essentially a shopping bag. Okay, so we've got all of this, right? Oh, and yeah, last but not least, we've got this butt washer here. Extremely important. Portable washer. There we go. Yeah, I feel like a clean asshole is the most basic thing that you can have. All right, so we're going to see how all this stuff fits into this jacket. All right, we're just going to start loading some of this stuff in. So I find this hat in this awkward shape works really well in this kind of rear pocket here, right? So I pack that in there, right? You can't see that at all. Then you always got your hat, right? Maybe this kerchief I'll pack on the other side. I'll roll it up. Maybe actually I'll take this off and it'll be a bit easier. Actually, no. Let's try it this way. See if we can get something going on. All right, so I've got kerchief in here. Let's put a battery pack at the bottom of each of these zipped pockets here. Let's put my passport wallet in this hidden placket pocket. Of course, got my wallet, that'll go in my pants. Headphones we'll throw into this one right here. All right, the screwdriver, so perhaps I could add that. Let's see if I've got a good compartment for it somewhere. What the heck, we'll just put it here for now. The clip is a little funky on this one. There we go. Got that there. Multi-tool. And maybe this is a good space for it. Perfect. Of course, we've got the most important butt washer. Throw that in here. Money pouch, also important. Now that'll go in here as well. Perfect. Phone goes in the pants. Right. And let's say this one, glasses, that can maybe be right there. Ah, this is cool. So it's always nice to take a little bag, you know, something with a kind of very portable form factor, and I can shove it in, right here. Right, so we've got a lot of stuff, right? And last but not least, we've got this fan. I'm actually gonna move these glasses to a different place. How about here? That's perfect. And then the fan here, I'm gonna slip through this ribbon and put that in like this, right? So now you can see we've got a lot of different stuff happening. Again, this is just an example. I wouldn't necessarily actually carry this, but guess what? You could. You can turn around here. You can kind of see, you know, and it really, you got to be smart about how you pack it, right? Where you put different things so that you don't get weird lopsided stuff. But, you know, just now the way that I've packed it, it's very nice. Works for me. I can button it up and show you guys. So I like to cut all my jackets and things like really big. Again, one for movement. See here, there's a little pleat back here for that. But also because if I'm anticipating carrying stuff in it, then I want to not show too much that I'm carrying a lot of stuff. I'm not sure how much it shows right now. It probably does show a little bit. Again, not a normal loadout necessarily, just an example of what you can carry. But yeah, so here's from the back here, and I've still got this entire area back here. I could put a full-size water bottle, you know, and I'm kind of good to go. Another application is if you're at the airport and you're on a lower budget flight and they weigh your bag and say that it's too heavy, you have to pay extra fees. Well, not if you have this jacket, because take whatever stuff that's heavy out of your carry-on, put it in your jacket, and then you're good to go, right? No extra fees, right? But yeah, here we go. So, you know, this is definitely still, you can move around. Yeah, and it's great, you know. I've got quick access to all kinds of things that I might want, right? For example, like this screwdriver. I don't know why somebody would need to access a screwdriver so quick, but, you know, you have that option, right? Okay. So let's say we're loaded up with all this stuff and it gets too hot to be wearing a jacket. So obviously, I mean, let's say it was buttoned, you could unbutton it. You get some temperature regulation that way. Still too hot, you roll up the sleeves as I've done. Even hotter, too hot for a jacket. Then you're gonna take your jacket off. Oh, look at all this cool stuff, right? And now you've got it in a sling, right? And again, just, you know, kind of imagine your own thing, like what you might want to carry. But this is super comfortable. I've made this strap like very, very wide out of the same fabric. It's adjustable by length. So yeah, this is super comfortable. Now you can go around, right? There's another feature. So it's not as good at being a bag as an actual bag, but you know, sometimes you might find this to be useful. I certainly have. All right, so one thing is here, I put this kind of like a very strong anchor point here, along with a hero clip, which is kind of like essentially like a hook, right? So you see I got this, oh, here, I got this little hook here. And so if you're out and you get some takeout or something, or you buy some groceries, obviously you could hold it, you could put it in the jacket, but you could also just kind of, I don't know what I have around here right now, a random sword, which you're definitely not going to do, but you could just hang something. Like I'm thinking a takeout container is what I've done frequently, right? And it's not good for walking. It's not what it's meant for, but occasionally you have to stand around. Maybe you're waiting in line to go to a concert or something and you just got to stand around and you don't want to be holding your thing of takeout. I don't know. Whatever it is, you can definitely hang stuff off of that. And it's on both sides. It's a platform. That's how I kind of thought about it, is it's a platform for you to be able to kind of integrate into your own life and do with what you will, okay? So just for fun, let's take everything out that we just put in, okay? So we've got the screwdriver, right? We've got my fan. What else we got here? Battery pack. Money bag, money pouch. Second battery pack. Glasses. Just gotta be a little careful here. Glasses. Passport wallet. Merino wool kerchief. Right, very useful for a lot of stuff. Okay. Our plastic bag, which we could have used to hold our takeout here. Right. And what else we got? Multi-tool. Headphones. And can't forget the butt washer. And my Ventile cap. I think that's everything. That's it.